What's up guys, Caleb here with another installment of Reality Check, and today we're checking out the Lenovo Ideapad 330. Big shout out to Evetech for sending this our way for review. Let's jump right into it. Laptops are not cheap by any standards. Finding one with the right balance of performance, portability, and price can be a real challenge sometimes. Usually you end up sacrificing premium elements in order to reduce costs, but what Lenovo has done with the Ideapad is really interesting, so let's talk about it in a little bit more detail. This is a working man's laptop, there is no doubt about that. It's got a really minimal, inconspicuous design that is perfect for a professional. You can take the Ideapad to meetings, you can do things like write emails, stream video, do coding, anything that you might need to do in a professional context, you can do with the Ideapad. Now, surprisingly, considering how cheap this laptop can be, they didn't sacrifice on the build quality whatsoever. So it's got a really firm, rigid chassis. It's plastic, but there's basically no flex anywhere, not really even by the keyboard. Speaking of which, the keyboard is one of the more premium elements on the Ideapad 330. So it's got a surprisingly tactile response and a really nice granite finish to the keycaps, which just makes it really nice to type on. And I think they thought about that because if you bought this laptop, you would predominantly be typing on it. The trackpad is perfectly usable, but the surface isn't that smooth and the clicks sometimes feel a little bit hollow, but it's perfectly usable and I'm happy with it at this price point. There is a minimal port selection on the Ideapad, but you have to remember this laptop is all about functionality, right? So they give you everything you might need in a professional context. You get two USB 3s, a USB-C, which is a nice addition, and then on top of that you get HDMI, Ethernet, and a headphone/mic jack. So if you were working with this laptop, you would be covered on your port selections. Now let's talk about the screen, because I think that's one area where Lenovo had to make some concessions in order to reduce the cost of the laptop. Now, there's nothing wrong with it. The bezels are a little bit thick and the viewing angles aren't great. The only reason I'm giving it a little bit of these videos. Sorry. The only reason I'm ragging on the Ideapad screen is because I've seen so many beautiful thin bezel displays from Lenovo's other laptops, but I understand why it couldn't be included with this build. We're rocking an 8th gen i5, an MX150, 8 gigs of RAM, and a 256 SSD, and that comes in at about 12,800 Rand. Now that's really nice for day-to-day administrative tasks, editing things like HD footage, anything that doesn't require too much power, you should get away with and not experience any lag as long as you have a decent internet connection. Now, what makes this specific laptop, the Ideapad, really unique is that it comes in a whole myriad of configurations. The base model with an i3 and 4 gigs of RAM comes in at about 7,000, 6,000 Rand. Like, that is an affordable laptop, there's no doubt about it. But you can go all the way up to an i7 GTX 1050 Ti and a 1 terabyte SSD if that's what you wanted to do. So you have all the options in the world with this laptop. So essentially, that's what makes the Ideapad such a good laptop. It's got versatility in terms of its configurations. It doesn't matter if you're a high school student all the way up to a lawyer. You can pretty much spec it according to your needs. Something that makes it even more affordable is that you have the option to get it with a Ryzen processor, which is just gonna cut the costs even more, but still give you that performance boost that you might want. The only things you might have to worry about here are a slightly janky screen and maybe not the greatest battery life in the world, but it's still a really good deal for what you get. Go check it out on Evetech, guys. They've got too many configurations. Like, I can't actually even tell you how many configurations there are of this laptop. You'll definitely find one that suits your needs. Anyways, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for this installment of Reality Check. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about the Ideapad 330, because there's something special about being able to buy a laptop that cheap and still that good. Don't forget to hit like, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time for another installment of Reality Check. Peace!